Today, we're diving into a project of almost unbelievable ambition, one that's emerging out of South Africa. It's really a story about a single, sprawling vision to build an entire world, basically from scratch.
And like a lot of these stories, it all kicks off with a number, a really, really big number. We're talking 3.5 billion rand. To put that in perspective, that's over 190 million US dollars, a number that just immediately makes you stop and ask, what on earth is this for?
Well, that massive number is attached to a tender with this name. Yeah, it's a mouthful, and it's probably meant to be. It hints at this world of super high-level engineering, finance, control systems, but it doesn't really clear anything up, does it? If anything, it just makes the whole thing even more mysterious.
Which of course brings us to the two big questions we're going to tackle in this explainer. Who is the person behind this monumental figure? And what is this grand design that they're trying to make real? We're going to peel it all back, layer by layer, and find out. Okay, let's dive right in. To really get a handle on the what, we first have to wrap our heads around the sheer financial scale of this whole operation.
Now you gotta understand, these aren't just numbers plucked out of thin air. They represent the actual declared value of services this project claims it can provide. We're talking about huge, national-level contracts for incredibly complex engineering. Things like managing massive power grids and building the digital brains to control them. This is the blueprint for a gigantic commercial enterprise.
And this is where the story takes a turn, because it gets really personal. This multi-billion rand vision, it isn't coming from some huge, faceless corporation. The documents trace it all back to a business profile set up by one single individual. Suddenly, the grand blueprint has a name and an author.
Okay, so let's peel back the next layer and see how this thing is built. Because this absolutely extraordinary financial ambition, it's matched by an equally bold educational one.
So this is the institution that sits at the center of everything. And right away, from the name alone, you can tell something different is going on here. A peace college that's also an African policing institute? That is not a combination you see every day.
And the courses they offer, well, they reflect that same strange mix. On one hand, you've got a formal NQF Level 6 diploma. Now that's a legit national qualification, a step up from a high school degree all about solving crime. But on the other hand, the college is offering very practical, hands-on training for electrical trade tests and complex engineering. It's this deliberate mashup of security and high-tech engineering, almost like it's designed to create a new kind of professional who can handle a very complex world.
Now here's the reality check. This is the actual checklist from the Department of Higher Education you'd need to get accredited. I mean, just look at the level of detail here. They're scrutinizing everything from the technical layout and the fonts you use to the cognitive skills based on Bloom's taxonomy, and they're even checking for language bias. This is the incredibly complex, rigid, bureaucratic world this new academy is trying to break into.
So you might be asking, what holds all this together? The billion rand business on one side, the unusual college on the other. Well, that brings us to the third and maybe the most ambitious layer of all, a vast, personally built digital system. A system designed to create order where, well, maybe there isn't any.
And believe me, this isn't just a bunch of ideas on paper. We are looking at the digital proof of a massive construction project. It's a sprawling web of software repositories on sites like GitLab, complete with custom logos and everything. This is a clear, deliberate plan to build an entire software ecosystem from the ground up.
And just get a load of the names of these software projects. They are so incredibly specific. One is for managing private security careers and labor disputes. Another is literally a memory trainer for an engineering database. A third is for managing national educational qualifications. Things like NATED and NCV diplomas, which are very specific technical certifications in South Africa. Each one of these is a tiny, perfect piece of a much, much larger puzzle.
And this right here is where it all becomes real. This is actual code being written. This little snippet of Visual Basic is designed to log a training transcript. And look at the details it's tracking. The full name, the fact that they've completed 943 modules, and their 756.63 hours of training. This is a system built for total, absolute information control.
But that just raises the biggest question of all, right? Why? Why would someone feel the need to build such a rigid, all-encompassing system from scratch? To get that, we have to take a look at the world it's being built in. Well, this is the context.
South Africa's infrastructure, especially the national power grid run by the state-owned utility Eskom, is under incredible stress. It's a landscape of rolling blackouts, systemic failures, the exact problems that the engineering curriculum is meant to solve.
And this quote from the source material just nails the central problem here. The student, the future engineer, is expected to perform at this elite, world-class level, but the systems they have to plug into are often broken. There's this huge friction between the standard that's required and the reality on the ground.
And if you want a perfect, tiny example of what that friction looks like in real life, here it is. An actual email sent to the National Power Utilities customer service bounces back. Address couldn't be found. Think about that. When the most basic channels of communication are failing, how are you supposed to operate a complex technical system?
So what do you do when the world outside is chaotic? It seems the answer is you build your own universe. You contrast that real-world chaos with the project's beautiful internal logic, what it calls a logogram flow. Look at it. It's a perfect, clean, four-step process. A signal leads to a course, which leads to an award, which leads to an outcome. It's a vision of pure, predictable, controlled order in a world that often has none.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together now and look at the whole absolutely breathtaking picture of what is being attempted here.
So, you have to stop thinking about this as three different things: a business, a college, and some software. It's not. It's one singular, unified vision. It's an entire ecosystem built from the ground up, designed to be completely self-contained and totally self-reliant.
And this really is the core conflict, isn't it? On one side, you have this incredible, grand vision of a perfect, unified system with a college and billion-rand contracts. And on the other, you have the ground reality of administrative friction, infrastructure that's failing, and the fact that this is mostly the work of a team of one. I mean, just think about what this one system is trying to bring under one roof. National educational diplomas, custom-built software logic, the hard realities of Eskom's power grid, complex government compliance frameworks, police security protocols, and even international engineering standards from giants like Eaton and Schneider. It is a staggering attempt to synthesize an entire society's worth of systems into one manageable whole.
Which leaves us with the final question, and it's a big one. When you really look at the totality of this project, its incredible detail, its sprawling ambition, and the challenging world that it exists in, what are you actually seeing here? Is it a portrait of genius? Is it a portrait of obsession? Or is it maybe the most rational possible response to a world where the existing systems just can't be relied on anymore?